this is a good takeaway is, okay, so if you...
Yeah, there's
bolts
some
are tricky,
controversy.
everybody. Okay, before I say this, Peter Sagan at Paris-Roubaix, his Garmin bolt on his...
No, not just his Garmin bolt.
No, his
stem was coming off.
Yes, and he fixed it. You ever see people in the Tour de France where their seat post slips and the people come up?
Yep.
Okay, so they have pro mechanics. I'm not a pro mechanic. My Garmin, I have a 1030, and then below is a GoPro,
and it's on a K-edge bar mount.
Yep.
Right?
So it's kind of on either side, and it's in the Venge mount, so it's kind of like the single bolt that comes in.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. It's in the Venge mount, so you really couldn't have tightened that.
No.
Yeah.
You were done. Like, I mean, you can't tighten that because you have to take your handlebars out to do that.
No, you can tighten it.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
But it's underneath, right?
You could get to it.
Oh,
while you're
yeah,
ready.
yeah.
Anyways, it loosened up. Here's a good takeaway. When you do a really bumpy road race, first you should tighten it before, but afterwards you should tighten it too. Because the next day with this crit that I did, it also had some really bad pavement, and that was enough to get it loose. And these things together is so bad that if it were to come off, and the screw was like halfway out and you couldn't screw it in by hand, someone could crash. Sure.
Yeah, because I mean, it's got a lot on there. You've got your big Garmin, you've got your GoPro hanging off the bottom.
Yeah, and it's connected.
Yeah, so it's an awkward shape.
Maybe if it wasn't connected,
locker? I mean,
that's what I'm thinking. Some Loctite would be good on.
Well,
there.
yes, we have some because we should do that.
Of course,
but but I'm just saying. It's a good takeaway. The bumpy roads, these things have been fine for years, but then the bumpy road, not years, but months.
Yeah, and proper bottle cages are a big concern too.
Totally.
Snelling's notorious for that, for losing bottles.
Yep.
That can be pretty dangerous.
We saw a ton of them.
It feels like these days, bottle cage manufacturers are getting much better.
Ways,
like I know everybody talks about the King cages and putting like grip tape on there and everything else, but I use the Specialized rib cage. I've never once lost a bottle ever. I use the Z cage on my mountain bike. I've never lost a bottle either. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But on this, sorry to jump around, but at the last road race, so many bottles on the road, and also so many flats. And I think too, in this day and age, going a little bit wider on a bumpy road. So I rode 28s on the road race and then 26s on the crit, just because you can run them at a lower pressure and it feels better, and go tubeless. I didn't see a single person flat who was tubeless.
Yeah.
But really, like someone in the break with 3 to go, he got a soft front, or 3 people. In the breakaway, when we were only down to 3 people, one of the guys got a soft front tire from hitting a pothole.
Oh. Yeah.
And then, if he has tubeless, maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
Sorry, okay, so I'm jumping around.
Back to the criterium.
Back to the criterium.
And the loosening mount thing.
Yep, I stop, tighten it up. The official comes over and goes, hey, this isn't a sanctioned mechanical or whatever. So what the ruling is on that.
Yeah, this is interesting. And before you get into this, we should explain the whole free lap rule, or I should say, like in general, in criteriums, and you're doing this. If it happens before, is it 5K to go?
They always say.
They'll announce.
They'll say this many laps to go.
No free laps with 5 to go.
Yep. So they'll announce whether it's laps or distance, something like that. Like they'll say, you can't take a free lap from this point. And you get a free lap in criteriums if you have some sort of mechanical that is out of your control, meaning that your tire gets slashed.
Yeah, it's something that's not your fault.
Yep. In other words, if you glued a tubular incorrectly and it came off, it'd be, that one's a little tricky to tell, but that's your fault.
Yep.
So it would not count for a free
basically
lap.
if it's user error.
Yep. Seat post slips does not count as a mechanical
handlebars
crash.
slip.
Yeah, handlebars are not tight. You should totally stop and tighten them, but it does not count as a free
You
lap.
don't get a free lap back in.
Another one that I've seen with this is dropped chains, and they'll get their chain jammed up. That one also should not be a situation where it counts and allows you to take a free lap. So
have you seen it count though as a free lap?
I have seen it count. Seen it count, and it shouldn't. But yeah, if your chain broke, for example, that would probably be something different. But then again, if your chain breaks, it's probably user error anyway. So it gets tricky.
But I don't think they would trace it back to that. I think they'd give you a pass, and that would be considered a mechanical, and you get the free lap back in.
As long as you have an extra chain.
Yes. True story.
Link it real quick.
So you pulled over to fix this, and then you talked, and then the official was there.
Yep, and he said, normally this doesn't count, but I'm going to let you back in. So you're 4 or 5? I say I'm a 4. It's like, okay, I'm going to let you back in. So I was thinking in my brain, I didn't know about how the rule was anyways. And
Yeah.
if he would have said go off, I would have been like, shoot, that's my fault. I was
Yeah.
like, cool, I get to go back in. Going back in, bridge to a breakaway, I won the race. And I'm thinking, I have my points for an upgrade. Hooray!
Yeah.
And I'm trying to talk to the official seeing if I could do the 3 race and see if then I could get points as a 3, even though I haven't like officially submitted yet.
Because you're just like rip roaring and ready to go after winning.
Yeah.
You just want to take on
Exactly.
more. After the 3 race, you're gonna ask him for an upgrade to the P12, and you're gonna do that.
So he goes, well, actually, that doesn't count. You were a lap down, so you better do this next race, which is a 35 plus 4 or 5 to go race. And I was like, I was such a bummer. And I was upset, and I understand what the ruling is, but the only thing I was upset about is what he shouldn't have let me back in.
Yeah.
Because I did affect the race by being in the breakaway and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know what.
It's a tough one. On the one hand, I want to blame you for not knowing the rules, but on the other, when an official tells you this is the case, you got to go with what the official tells you.
Right.
I mean, it's their job to know the rules better than anybody.
Yeah, there's definitely responsibility on both sides there.
Sure.
Should I have been pulled when I got into the breakaway?
Yes. So
Shouldn't have been allowed in the breakaway.
if it could be, who knows when he made that decision to say that it wasn't, that he shouldn't have let you back in, if it was because you won and then he made that decision. But yeah, for sure. Like if he said something and then like you got back into the race and he immediately regretted it, I would for sure have pulled you, because the point is, in some cases, if you race a criterium and you have a mechanical and it's your fault and you can't take a free lap, in some cases, usually if it's a not consequential race, sometimes they'll say you can go back in, but you cannot pass a single person. You have to sit at the back.
Yeah, I've seen it too many times where they just get back in, and what comes of it comes of it. There's no restriction. No one's really paying that close of attention, especially if you have a big field of riders.
And if you're a Cat 5 on this race, it probably wouldn't. You just want to finish, right? Because you want the point.
Right, yeah. So if you're a 5, I bet that in my mind, it would have made sense if he said, if you were a 5, I'll let you back in just to give you the point. You know what I mean? To like, but on the 4 side of things, in my mind, I would have said, nope.
Yeah,
Right.
I could have put you back in, told you not to contest the finish. Maybe that would have been enough.
I wouldn't have done it though, because I just wanted points.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. So it's tricky, but I've seen that. Like I said, I've seen that happen. At Sea Otter one year, a junior jammed his chain going up the climb, and he dropped his chain because it's a famous section where you're going really hard, and then you have to drop down to your little ring, usually for this really steep climb. He did that. He dropped his chain, but he just kept pedaling and trying to figure it out, and he just created a Tetris mess down by his bottom bracket. Stopped. Ended up getting it fixed, and then he basically waited around, and then we came back through, and he jumped back in. And when he jumped back in, he totally influenced the race. It was toward the end of the race, and the kid ended up just attacking up that hard climb, and then he ended up, really changing the makeup of it. Wasn't good.
This is another key point that I didn't know that the official told me. A tip for next time is if you do have a mechanical, let's say if you have a soft tire, immediately go to the pit, because if you get dangled off the back and then you go to the pit, they won't let you back in with the peloton.
Right. They'll put you back in with the group that you were in.
And if you're off the back, he'll put you off the back.
Yep.
So don't try to save it if it's a mechanical that's right. And on this race too, I took off my bottle cages because I just asked Chris Yu from Specialized on Strava. So much information there. I said, how many watts does a bottle cage without a bottle add to drag?
And it's good to note that in this case, he knows the bike that we have, because I imagine this depends on the bike and that sort of stuff. It's at least been said that it can depend. So, but he's familiar with this because obviously they do a lot of testing with Avenge, so he can speak on this.
I think he said on average, but he said on average it's about 5 watts for the bottle and the cage. But if you take out the bottle, the cage is about half of that, so 2.5 watts. And I'm thinking I have 2 cages.
Still pretty significant.
Yeah, I don't need to drink during a 45-minute crit,
Right.
but my little my tool is connected to my bottle cage.
Yeah, the multi-tool.
Yep. So if I had that on there, I could have done this while I was riding because the pace wasn't fast. I could just be off the back and kind of
Sure.
do it, which is
Yeah,
a
that's
shame,
a good
but
point. Always carry your multi-tools.